Welcome to The Business Fighter with Henry Penix. Henry has been the CEO, founder, and consultant to hundreds of companies worldwide. He retired a multimillionaire, financially independent at the age of 35. Henry grew up a preacher's son and was thrown in jail 3 times for various altercations. He knows what it means to come from nothing and have to fight his way to the top. Henry is the business fighter who will teach you strategic skills for winning in business and in life. Don't just spectate, participate. It's time to get in the ring.
Hey guys, Henry Penix, the business fighter. I've got an amazing woman on the podcast today. Her name is Tracy Litt. She's a spiritual advisor and mindset teacher to women leaders. And I've coined her as kind of a calm coach. She shows you how to get to that place of calm and how that's where our greatest power comes from. I'm dying to know how to get there because I need it every day in my life. It's like I live from stress moment to stress moment. And I think we're going to learn a lot from Tracy. Tracy, so glad to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped to hang out.
Yeah. Your whole demeanor right now, just talking like you're calm. So you're leading by example. I can't fight you on that.
Yes.
I'm the business fighter and I've got to agree with you.
Right. I love it. Well, it's working already. See that?
Yeah. Look into my eyes. No, that's awesome. So you're a spiritual advisor and a mindset teacher, primarily to women, but you probably teach men and women. You've done TED Talks. You've done all that. Before we get into some of those golden nuggets that we can drop on some of my viewers, how did you get into that? Like, there's always a story behind the story. Can you give me sort of a quick recap and synopsis of what got you interested in this and what brought you to this place?
Yes, absolutely. So my real passion behind why I do what I do came to me because I had one of those dark nights of the soul that came as a result of thinking I had done everything right, following the order of operations of life. And I identified the love of my life and was building the big house and was pregnant with the baby and I had all the things. And then it all collapsed. And I found myself unemployed and a single mother with an 8-month-old.
Oh my gosh.
And in that moment, experiencing whose life is this? Like a surreal moment where I was witnessing myself going, why are you here? What got you here? Yep. How did this happen? Because this whole situation is so beneath your capacity. And what it caused me to do.
How did you get that self-awareness? Like that's hard. If you're in that miry pit, how can you say that? How can you say I'm living beneath where I'm supposed to live? Yeah.
So it was one particular night where I went into the garage because I just needed space. My beautiful baby, who's 16 now, she was 8 months old. She was crying like every baby needs to cry. She didn't want to go to bed. And I was looking around the house at where used to be a beautiful couch is now an air mattress because now the house is sold. And this whole life that was supposed to be the life is over. Right. And I walked out into the garage just to have a little space and I dropped to the floor and just cried my eyes out, like, fetal position, hyperventilating, the kind of cry I believe in and I teach for people, right? The emotion.
Get it all out.
And in laying there, started to hear my higher self. Really actually heard that kind of, get up, get off the floor. Wow. What are you doing? What choices did you make that got you here? And like in that moment started reflecting and got honest with myself and noticed I ignored every red flag. I tolerated things in that relationship. I wouldn't give you a second in that kind of stuff I'm tolerating now. Right. And it was my ultimate realization was it was my own lack of worth that led me into a string of choices that dropped me into this moment.
Wow.
That then became the biggest gift of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's so profound. Guys, we could stop right here. And if you just listen to that 10 times, you're going to have an awareness of you and your situation, no matter what situation you're in now, and you could probably change your life forever. So
Yeah.
I've never had somebody hit the sweet spot this early in on a podcast, but wow. So you had that epiphany right there. You let everything out. You're in the fetal position. Your higher self says, you don't need to be there, girl. You need to lift it up. This is where you need to be. This is who you need to be. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. What happened then?
Yeah. So I allowed myself to notice, and I'm saying this right here because it's important for everyone that's hanging out with us. You need to be willing to notice. You need to be willing to feel the pain and the honesty of who you've allowed yourself to be up until that point.
So
because you can easily gloss over and I call it fake the funk on those moments when the universe is trying to wake you up, right? And then what I did was I listened to my higher self. And what's so interesting is this is the core of the work I do now. I realized I was no longer allowed to make my own choices because the choices I was choosing from the woman I was at that point were clearly not putting me in the best position.
Yep.
So I started asking myself, well, what would she do? My higher self, the woman who knows what I'm capable of, the woman that's allowing to pull me forth to create an epic life for my daughter and I, right? Which then directed me into starting a corporate career. And I was 12 years in corporate America, went from unemployed to building a career to being a vice president of human resources.
Oh my God.
To which then she came back one night on a back patio overlooking the ocean. Psst, you're not done. What are you doing? Your soul's not fulfilled. You're meant for so much more than this. Keep going. And now here I am. This is what I do all day, every day.
Oh my gosh. And probably loving it.
Oh, to call it work is ridiculous.
I know.
It's like, what? Like,
Wow.
Yes.
For people who may get hung up on who is my higher self, how do I listen to her or him or it? What do you tell those people? Like, how do they tune into that? How do they know it's that? How do they know it's maybe not just their own mental funk that's trying to pull them down? How do they know it's not the lie or the rosy glasses that some of their leaders told them they were? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of those things. Like, how do you know it's your higher self?
Well, a couple of things. The first thing is your higher self is only going to pull you up.
Higher self,
right? It's never this person. It doesn't sound like fear. It doesn't feel like doubt. It doesn't feel like hesitancy. It feels like your greatness is being pulled.
Love it.
Right? It's just like so juicy and magnetic. And then in a more tangible way, we all dream about who we can be. We all have moments where like, God, I wish I could talk like that. I wish I could say that. I want to do that, right? We have these internal aspirations. There's a beautiful quote. I don't know who to credit for it. I looked all over. Don't wake up and think about the woman you want to become. Wake up and be her, right? Don't wake up and think about the man you want to become. Wake up and be him. So when I say that to you, all of a sudden you have a vision. Something happens, you're like, ooh, I know what that is. And as you start to allow yourself to articulate that vision, write out what that is, right? Then you're basically creating and designing the beautiful person that you want to become. And that becomes your higher self.
I love that. And you don't know this about me because we just met, but I grew up in the church. My father was a pastor. So I was very aware of spiritual things. And, it almost seems cliche. I believe in my creator. I don't believe in religion, so to speak. The 4,000 religions, I mean, one of them may be right. They may all be wrong. But I think when you connect with your creator and know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and know that, for me, my teaching was we were made in the image of our creator. We were made in the image of God. And if you're made in the image of God and he is a creator, you're a co-creator. So what are you doing to create? What are you speaking? When he said, and then it was, even when it wasn't before, when he said, and then it was, we can say, and then it is. And that thing comes up in you and bears witness with your spirit. You get chill bumps, you get you know that you know that you know. That's all I can say. You know that you know that you know. And when you know it, go for it. And that's it. Like, that's your higher self. That's the path. That's the positioning. That's the power that comes from you as a co-creator with your creator.
Yes, I love that. And I agree. And I also say that too so much. You know, and you know, and you know, and you know, that kind of unshakable conviction.
Yes.
The energy that comes from that, the certainty, your ability to show up and do the thing and make your impact. And, you know, it's just exponential. You know, then the other thing that comes up for me too in the conversation of higher self is it's your soul, right? Your ego must take a back seat when you're listening to your higher soul, your higher self, right? It's really like a demotion of the ego so you can have a promotion of the soul.
Wow. I love that. I hope you guys are getting this. I hope you're taking notes and writing these things down, because this will liberate you, and the way it's being presented in this calm fashion will relax you, but there's so much power in it. It will change your life forever. My gosh. Okay. So I want to keep going, but I want to take a quick pause and ask you, where can people find more of this? Where can they find more about you?
Yes. More about me is thelittfactor.com, which is lit with 2 T's, the Litt Factor. And you can go right to feelthepowerofcalm.com and start accessing some of this incredible connection to yourself.
You have like a free gift.
Yes, that's a feelthepowerofcalm.com is a free 30-minute video training, just me and you hanging out. And I talk all about really connection to self and what it means to access your center and your power of calm.
Yeah. Wow. So I would imagine for you, it's hard to talk to so many people because of sort of the condition that we're in right now with COVID and with everybody, practicing self-isolation and all of that. There's a lot of, and I don't know if in your circles, but the people I've been talking to, there's a lot of anxieties, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of rethinking who you are. Like, I would imagine what you do now is probably at the intersection of time, of the most perfect time to have people become more self-aware, because what they thought was normal wasn't. 6 months ago, I never thought in my wildest dreams, and I do a lot of business all over the world. Thank God, I love doing that sort of thing, and I've been able to have a lot of access to a lot of things all around the world, and I never thought in a million billion years that the entire economy could be shut down, within 24, 48 hours. So that type of action and activity in the world puts in my mind that if that could happen, what else could happen? So it kind of if you're not centered, if you're not grounded, if you're not coming from a place of calm, you can be so anxious that you can be paralyzed. That's one. So that's kind of the negative side to it. And I want you to speak to that. The other side is, because everything could change and because a lot of people's lives have changed, we're doing calls now this way instead of face to face, where we're in, people's living rooms and bedrooms instead of their office. Like everything has changed. So if everything is changing, and change usually means progress, why don't we change? Isn't this the perfect time to take a look at who we are, who we want to be, and more importantly, who we don't want to be, and then make a new life? I mean, speak to all that.
Oh gosh, there's so much in here. I don't want to forget a lick of what's happening inside me right now. But the first thing is that if you're ready to wake up, this will be the biggest gift that has ever been given to you, right? Yes. So we can't impact someone's readiness. So if you are ready, I often have been saying, this is like the personal growth retreat nobody signed up for, and it's happening in the comfort of your own home.
I'm gonna listen to this 10 times just to use some of these quotes.
Take them, right? So really realizing also, and again, it depends on how enlightened are you? How willing are you allowing yourself to go there, instead of becoming an anxious, nervous, fearful victim of the current times, seeing it through, I can't believe this is happening, right? Yep. Versus, so everything happens for our highest good. What is this happening for? Because ultimately, everything that happens outside of us is a stimulus that becomes a magnifier for anything that's going on inside, right? So COVID is basically like a big, huge flashlight.
Yep.
Right? That's going, how are you going to handle this? Where are you at? What are you not done with? Where have you been wasting your energy? What have you been giving your power away to? Right? What do you spend your hours of the day doing? Yep. Are you going to come back and just plug everything back into your life the way that it was before? Have you woken up to the fact that no one's giving an award for stress and overwhelm, and it's time to seriously reconsider who you're being? Right? Yes. You have to be ready for it. Right? It's change happens by catalyst or choice. And my hope is that more people start making it by choice.
Choice, yes.
You know, so
didn't, this is a nice kick in the ass.
It sure is. It sure is, you know, because it's such an opportunity. But again, it's really, everything's how you see it, right? What is the lens through which you're seeing? And if it's for you, you're going to say, yes. And you're going to dive in and you're going to get introspective and you're going to be willing to find the honesty behind the honesty that you have been running away from in a lot of areas in your life.
And I love that. Love that. And I don't know who this is for, but please, guys, please don't mask these times with the Band-Aid and drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. Don't numb yourself to what will ultimately free yourself.
Yeah.
Please don't do that, because a lot of people want to take that escape. They want to say, well, if I could just numb myself to it, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, the dream's going to be over. Mm-hmm. That's not it. And if you want to have drinks, do whatever, that's not my business to tell you yes or no. I'm just saying, please don't get into it so heavy that you're masking something that's your greatest gift, because that in many times shuts off your capacity to think, mm-hmm. to be self-aware, and to make that plan for your greatness. I don't even know, I've never said this on a podcast, but maybe you can speak a little to that, but I just want people to get all they can out of this.
Yeah, of course. And I love what you're saying. And really what stops us from that is no one ever taught us how to feel our feelings.
Good.
No one ever taught us how to be with the demons and the stuff that is coming up that you haven't looked at, that you have suppressed, that you have to-do lists for your to-do lists your way through your life. So the constantness is insane. I mean, if we haven't seen anything from just how this has given us the gift of slowing down, right? That all of that numbing and buffering against that is because, well, I don't know how to feel this. And if I start to feel it, will I ever stop feeling it? And do I want to take a look at what I've suppressed down for the past 3 decades? And what we're both saying is, please do. And that's where the growth journey starts. That's where the healing is. That's where your energetic frequency rises. That's when you start to see the world differently. That's when you open yourself up to go, whoa, like I'm limitless. I can do anything. I'm not my past. All the beauty comes from your ability to be with yourself. Mm-hmm. In a non-judgmental, very grace-giving, highly compassionate way.
There you go.
Right? And sadly, we weren't taught that in 7th grade or 9th grade.
Or who had leaders or parents or spouse that would judge us, put us down, all that. And mm-hmm. we have to know that we are not that. We are not the opinion of other people. We are who our higher self, we are who God says we are, which mm-hmm. is fearfully and wonderfully made and can do all things, and everything will work out for your good. Like that's, keep feeding yourself that, you can, whatever you feed will grow.
Yes.
And it's like we have 2 things inside of us. One's pulling us down in our past and our pity and our failures. And that will, and if we feed that, we will continue down that pathway. But the other part of us, I think, is that part that higher self who says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're great. You can do all things. You're limitless. I love that word you used. But you got to feed that. So how do you feed that? You listen to Tracy, you listen to positive podcasts, you read positive books, you, and not just positive, foo-foo positive, like things that lift up your spirit. I mean, you may love gardening and go get you a book on the most beautiful roses in the world and let that feed your heart and your spirit, and go out and do that with your passion, you know. Or if it's build $1 billion company, go do that with your passion, or your relationships or whatever. But always, and I'm this is kind of coming to me as we're nearing the end of the podcast. If it feeds your higher self, then that's good. And that's going to take you to a place that you ultimately want to be. If it doesn't, starve that sucker that's trying to pull you back.
Yes.
Feed it. And you don't feed it by gossip, by complaining, by trying to judge other people. Don't feed it that way. Let that sucker starve, and you keep moving forward in your faith and in your calm and in that energy that will take you to places that you never thought you could go.
Yes, 1,000% yes, because what you're describing is ego versus soul. It's fear versus love.
Yep.
It's empowerment versus disempowerment. It's just really understanding that you have all the power. I think this is just important to say, because we underestimate that everything is a choice. Okay, everything, you are choosing it,
Yep.
and you have all the power.
Yep.
So how do you want to use it?
Wow. So good. This, I'm already past my time limit that I said I was going to use. I feel like I could talk another 5 hours.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, no, don't stop.
I feel like I'm right in the middle of a meal where it's just getting ready to taste good, and I haven't even had dessert. But tell people one more time how they can get a hold of you, and then we'll wrap this up. And I see a part 2 coming very soon, because you're an amazing person. And thank you so much for taking your time and doing this podcast.
Thank you so much. I love being here. Grab the 30-minute video training, feelthepowerofcalm.com. From there, we can stay connected. And it's just it's the biggest gift I can give you is to access your calm and be the calm, because all of the beautiful things you want are going to come from that space.
Wow. Love it, love it, love it. So in the midst of chaos, find your calm. And
that's right.
Tracy can help guide you there, not from a book that she's read, but from a life that she's led.
Yeah. Yes.
I love this. All right, Tracy, I'm going to have you on again, I know. And until then, God bless.
Thank you so much.
Okay.